Welcome, and thank you for standing by. Today's call is being recorded. If you have any objections, you may disconnect at this time. All participants are in a listen-only mode until the question-and-answer session of today's agenda. To ask a question at that time, you may press star 1 and record your name clearly for question introduction. I would now like to turn the call over to your host, Bobby Gray. Thank you, Bobby.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Bobby Gray, and we want to welcome you to the FDIC Money Smart and the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau's Your Money, Your Goals, Tools to Foster Greater Economic Inclusion joint webinar. We are glad that you are able to participate. And before we get started, just a couple of things. The operator has more than likely reminded you of the conference call. The audio is the way that we'll be listening today. Our formatting for questions and answers will be chat initially, and at the end when we open up the phone lines during our final Q&A. Remember, you can chat anytime throughout the presentation. And if you are having any additional issues, you can send an email to communityaffairs@fdic.gov. So who's on our call today as we collaborate with our partners at the CFPB? As I mentioned, I am Bobby Gray. I work in the Division of Depositor and Consumer Protection in our Community Affairs area of FDIC. I will be joined by Luke Reynolds from our CFPB teams. We have Sophia Sahaf and Jill Willer, and then we'll hear from Carrie Gladstone, one of the cohorts from the field, to talk about our resources. The agenda, the official welcome, will come from both of our agencies, first from Luke, then from Sophia. I will give you an introduction to our Money Smart program. Then Jill will talk about Your Money, Your Goals. She will also go over the compatibility of the two resources that we have. And then, as I mentioned, Carrie will talk about use of both resources in your work. And then we'll open up the phone for questions and answers. Okay, Luke.
Thank you, Bobby. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for being here. The FDIC is committed to expanding economic inclusion in the banking system by ensuring that all people have access to affordable and sustainable products and services from insured depository institutions. The FDIC's Economic Inclusion Strategic Plan promotes the widespread use of affordable and sustainable products and services from insured depository institutions to help consumers and entrepreneurs meet their financial goals. Financial education is the foundation for the various strategies in our Economic Inclusion Strategic Plan. That's because effective financial education helps people gain the skills and confidence that they need to sustain a banking relationship, achieve their financial goals, and improve financial well-being. Through Money Smart, the FDIC offers non-copywritten, high-quality, free financial education resources for a wide range of stakeholders to train people of all ages and small businesses. You looked at Money Smart last a few years ago. I think you'll be in for a surprise if you look at the Money Smart of today. We're continuously improving and updating our Money Smart product family. Later this year, Money Smart will turn 20 years old. We never stop listening and improving our resources and promoting collaborations to reach more people. We hope to work with many of you on this call today, perhaps as members of our Money Smart Alliance, to help us work together to benefit more people. Joining today, we've been collaborating with CFPB for just over 9 years around financial education. So I'm really honored to introduce Sophie Sahaf, Deputy Assistant Director of Community Affairs at CFPB, who will continue the program today so you can learn more about some high-quality complementary resources from both us and the CFPB. Sophie?
Thanks, Luke. Let me see if there's my video kicking in. So I'm Sophie Sahoff. I'm the Deputy Assistant Director for Community Affairs at the CFPB. And one of our top goals, as you can see, is to make consumer financial markets work for everyone at the Bureau. That's one of our top goals, and that, of course, includes consumers as one of our top stakeholders. We empowering, enforcing, and educating. So I just wanted to share a little bit about the Bureau, and then, of course, want to thank you all for your time with us here today. We know it's very valuable, and we're excited to share more about our Your Money, Your Goal resources, and to be doing it in
Thanks for your patience, everyone. We're just working through a little technical hiccup.
And I think we might have lost Sophie's sound, but we can...
We did. This is the operator. If Sophie has dialed back in, which I believe she has, can I have Sophie plus *0 just so I can identify her line quickly? Sophie? And one moment, I've identified her line. I'll join her back in. Okay, you all, Sophie is currently now back with us, and her line is now open.
Sorry about that technical snafu. I think this is the world we live in today, but I think it's dropped off when I was trying to thank everybody for your time here today and thanking the FDIC for all of their collaboration. I also wanted to just say that this is a wonderful time to be having this conversation. It's the start of the new year, and there's no better time really to step back, think about our dreams, our goals, our resolutions. It's also a time when we're all, I think, dealing with a lot of uncertainty because of the health crisis, the financial crisis, and we hope that our resources, both FDIC's and our Bureau Your Money, Your Goals resources, can help you and those you serve identify concrete, tangible steps you can take to meet your goals, to understand your options, to feel more in control of your finances. So right now, I just wanted to pause and ask you to share what it is you'd really like to hear today. We're, of course, going to have some information we need to get through, and we want to share with you, and we'd love to try to accommodate any requests and things that are on your mind as we go through that presentation today. We, of course, always care about being responsive to our end users at both FDIC and CFPB, and that's really baked into every step of the Your Money, Your Goals resource design, and we want to model that here. So please feel free to just enter in the chat anything on your mind, any themes you'd love us to touch upon, or anything more specific than that as well. Before turning it back over to Bobby at the FDIC and others who are going to really dig into the meat of what Your Money, Your Goals is all about, there's just a couple things I wanted to share. One is that we really value partnering with the FDIC. We've learned a lot from our work over the many years of how Money Smart is used and what they've created over there. We've also been able to partner on creating resources like the Your Money, Your Goals guide that's focused on supporting folks with disabilities and in many other ways. So that's one thing we really value. I want to also note that these are both resources that really complement each other, and we're big believers that the more resources out there can be tailored to different needs, to different audiences, the better we can all get to our shared goals of improving financial well-being, financial choice, financial control. Lastly, as you hear more about both of our resources, I just want to also highlight a couple things that really set them apart, which are the independence of the resources, that they're free and accessible to all, and that they are intended to be used in different settings and in a complementary way. I hope in the course of the next 45 minutes or so, you will walk away understanding both resources, how they can be applied in your world, and that you feel equipped to leverage them in your life or your work. And so with that, I'll turn it back over to Bobby, the Supervisory Community Affairs Specialist with FDIC. Thank you again.
Thank you, Sophie. I am going to attempt to leave my camera on as I introduce you to our Money Smart and a couple other FDIC financial capabilities, resources, and tools. However, as I'm sure I'm not the only one, but sometimes as we are presenting in our new virtual world, the broadband gets weak. And if I get the message that my broadband is weak, I will turn off my camera so you can just focus on the information that I'm talking about. So let's get started with Money Smart. The Money Smart at a glance, we have financial education products. We have a whole suite of products for individuals and aspiring and small business owners of all ages. As you can see, we have our Money Smart for young people, Money Smart for young adults, which is currently being revised. We have Money Smart for adults, which we will focus on today as we talk about our complementary resources. We have collaborated with the CFPB to create the Money Smart for older adults, as well as partnering with the Small Business Administration to develop the Money Smart for small business curriculum. All of those are our instructor-led products. We do have products in a learn-on-your-own format. That would be our computer-based instruction, which we are excited in the near future we will be able to release another product. And we also have our Money Smart podcast network, where people on the go just need little snippets of information. You can listen to it through the web or any player. And we also have our Money Smart News is a way that you can connect with the FDIC, and our Money Smart Alliance that Luke mentioned, and I'll just briefly talk about it a little bit later. Okay, so the features of each of our instructor-led products. We have an instructor guide for each module. So any instructor has everything they need to conduct the workshop. The Money Smart instructor-led products are developed for small groups, but you can also use it in your one-on-one setting. You don't have to have any prior teaching experience. Everything you need to teach it. It is scripted. It comes with a participant guide, which also has scenarios, pre and post surveys, so that you're able to use it as a opening energizer or just gauge where your class is at. There are resources that they'll be able to take home. And then each also comes with a slide deck available in PowerPoint or a PDF format. I think my camera is delaying my slides, so I'm going to turn my camera off if that's okay with you so that we can get through my presentation. You can see that Money Smart over the years, Luke has mentioned that Money Smart will be 20 years old this year, and it has had an impact. After a longitudinal survey, we were able to learn that consumers had made differences after taking the classes. After the 6 to 12 months follow-up, we found that there were participants who didn't have an account, decided to open an account. Maybe some of those, what we might call underbanked consumers, did some comparison shopping and chose a new account or made the most out of the accounts that they already had. People understood what it meant to pay their bills on time. And 95% of the respondents reported that they were satisfied with their Money Smart course. In the near future, we intend to conduct another survey of the Money Smart for adults. So let's talk about Money Smart for adults. Why did we completely revise the 2010 version of Money Smart for adults that we had? We wanted to update the curriculum. It hadn't been a complete revision since 2010, so we were able to go back to organizations such as those of you on the phone. Many of you may have participated in some of the focus groups or pilot sites to give us feedback on what could we do to make the Money Smart product even better, beginning with Money Smart for adults. Who's our target audience? So it was originally created, of course, with those in mind outside of the financial mainstream, perhaps those in underserved communities. But what we found is even those of us who find themselves financially, or we think we're financially savvy, we too have been able to learn from these lessons. The Money Smart isn't copyrighted, and so you're able to adapt it for the needs of your audience. It's designed to work with everyone. We have incorporated examples that would be relevant to people with disabilities, for example. There's a worksheet in the spending plan exercises that has the participants to think about, perhaps I might need to make revisions to my home, or perhaps I have a service animal that I would also need to consider their expenses along with the personal expenses for myself. What are some of the delivery options? It can be you can deliver as on your own, or as Luke and both Sophie, I believe, mentioned, as collaboration is key. Together we can get it done. So you're our trusted source. So we partner with other organizations to reach the consumers, to provide them with reliable information that they can use to help them make sound financial decisions. Money Smart has also been a tool that financial institutions have been able to collaborate with those in their community to offer financial lessons. So as you're beginning to think about how you can use this in your work, consider reaching out to the community development officer in your financial institution. Think about others that are using the resources, and you may always think about collaboration to get the information out. Our training model is the FDIC provides curriculum, and we offer train the trainer. And then as instructors, you will go out as the trusted resource, direct to participants, and then, as I mentioned, they're able to make sound financial decisions for themselves. The Money Smart for Adults module went from 11 to 14 modules, as I mentioned, based on feedback from those of you in the field. We have new modules and some that were expanded. For example, Your Money Values and Influences is brand new. It has participants to think about what influences your money decisions. The debt module went from another module to becoming a full cycle of what is debt, how do we manage it, how do we get out of it if we need to. Again, module 14, financial preparation and recovery, is not just about natural disasters, but a financial setback. And it may be timely as people are thinking in this environment as being resilient and what are some of the next steps I may take if I face a financial setback. during this pandemic. The instructor-led modules, I mentioned, every component will have an instructor guide, participant guide, a deck of slides. Each section of the Money Smart for Adults has a key takeaway in the beginning and in the end. These are important lessons that you would want your clients to remember. Each instructor guide comes with prompts. It tells you the section that you're in, what you need to do. You're going to ask a question. You're going to write on a flip chart. It gives you a script to say. But, of course, we want you to absorb the information and then make it your own. It may say write on a flip chart or a whiteboard. We're in this virtual environment, and, of course, many of these platforms that we use do have breakout rooms. We can use whiteboards, so you can be very creative in how you use it with your audience. This is a sample of the instructor guide and participant guide together. One piece of advice I would give is be familiar with what's in the participant guide. Because the instructor guide is scripted, you're going to have way more information. So this arrow is showing this is one of we have activities called try it and apply it. So you're going to try it perhaps in the session, and then how does this apply to my life? You'll have an opportunity to read some real life scenarios together before the participant would use it in their life. Okay, and here's an example, again, of the try it. And then I mentioned there will be the slide. So if you can see on the left-hand instructor guide slide at the very bottom, I know it's very little, it's called Take Action. So I've learned this in class. We've participated in some activities. So the Take Action is one of the new features that I really like because it says, so now you have this information. What are you going to do with it? What action are you going to take to apply it to your life? How are you going to do it? And who can help you be accountable? I mentioned the pre- and post-training surveys. Again, you can use it as an energizer to get your class going, or you can certainly use it in the beginning and then again at the end to see how much the class has learned. And then on the post-training survey, there is some information that we can collect as instructors about how the attendees felt the session went. We have complementary resources for instructors. We have an instructor guide to presenting, and we have scenarios for financial inclusion, which also comes with 4 activities that you can use to supplement lessons within the Money Smart for Adults. We have promotional flyers. We have videos on our website. There are Train the Trainer videos for each module, which I would encourage you to visit. And then quarterly, we host Train the Trainer webinars, and we also are able to do some limited customized webinars for organizations as well. We mentioned our Money Smart Alliance program. This is how we reach consumers. We partner with organizations who agree to teach or promote the curriculum, help us evaluate the products, give us feedback, and share some of those success stories that help us share with others who are interested. We have a streamlined online process. It is a free membership. On our website, there is a searchable database. You can look for other organizations in your area that you could consider partnering with. We have our Money Smart online newsletter. We collect those success stories that I talked about. With the Alliance, we host quarterly peer-to-peer training. And so you can hear from other colleagues about some of these successes that they've had, and to also help you generate ideas. With the online newsletter, for those of you that have used our curriculum and you've never considered submitting a submission, think about it for 2021. We always want to hear from you. We have been conducting one-on-one calls with our partners. As Sophie mentioned, how is it that we can help you? And then as I begin to get to closing, you will be excited to know that we have some new economic inclusion resources that can help you in your work, along with a coronavirus website that we keep updated. We have a new Get Banked web page and initiative. You will find tools that will be helpful as you're working with your clients to come within the financial mainstream if they are not. There are videos, interactive checklists. We also have our consumer newsletter. It's not listed here. And then we have new videos called FDIC Explains. So I would encourage you to check out the new resources that we have available. And of course, I don't want to not mention the FDIC survey on how America banks, the household use of banking and financial services that was released, as well as the interagency Q&A regarding community reinvestment. You will reach us in general through communityaffairs@fdic.gov. I encourage you to look for our Money Smart resources on fdic.gov/Money Smart. You can also find resources on fdic.gov/education. So now I will turn to Jill Wheeler of CFPB. Jill?
Thank you, Bobby. If you could pass the ball back to me, I'll switch over to our slides. And again, I'll leave my video on as long as bandwidth works. If you could share the CFPB deck. Great. Thank you so much. It's really such a pleasure to be here with you all. We're excited to see so many people joining from around the country, some very new to these resources and some very experienced. We'll be holding questions until I run through the CFPB presentation, and then we will open it up to voice and chat questions. We'll also hear from a few users from the field. So I'm so happy to be here today to talk about the Bureau resources, and in particular, our Your Money, Your Gold financial empowerment resources. I am required to give a quick disclaimer. This is not legal or financial advice. Any views, I will do my best to represent the Bureau, but my comments may not fully represent the Bureau's views. I'll mention, and our participants will mention resources that may be useful from their experiences, but there may be other resources available, and these comments do not constitute endorsements of these materials. I like this slide just because it reminds us, as we're doing our best all in our daily lives or work with the people we serve, we want to give them good information. We're often put on the spot trying to help, and what we're doing today is trying to help share with you all up-to-date, credible, objective resources that you can use daily with the people you serve. As Sophie mentioned, the background on the Bureau, we focus on empowering, enforcing, and educating people, making sure that the market is working for consumers, providers, companies, and when the laws are broken, that there's a place to make sure those complaints get resolved. So I'll touch on that complaint and consumer protection function as well. I want to mention that our Bureau team today, Sophie Sahab, Terry Molyneux, and I represent the Community Affairs team at the Bureau. Our work focuses on people who may be lacking full affordable access to financial services. We tend to focus on low to moderate income consumers, people with low wealth, or people who are otherwise financially underserved or vulnerable. And in these times, the people across the country who are feeling financially vulnerable is certainly very significant. So we see that these resources are helpful as practitioners, providers, and often in our daily lives, sharing with friends and family members as well. I do want to mention that the Bureau has a strong commitment to supporting consumers through all of the ups and downs of daily life. In the context of the coronavirus pandemic, the Bureau created a web page. I'll ask Terry to add it in the chat. It's consumerfinance.gov/coronavirus. And this page combines a wide variety of up-to-date resources on how to protect yourself financially during the pandemic. It provides up-to-date information on accommodations, adjustments, changes in laws related to the CARES Act and to the recent economic impact payments. There are a number of guides that can help practitioners as they share that information and the resources with the people they serve. There's some excellent housing sections that bring together resources from a variety of government agencies and links to many of the tools that I'll talk about today. And we really enjoy partnering with FDIC and other federal agencies to make those resources as available as possible to you. Today, the focus of my presentation will be on the Your Money, Your Goals suite of financial empowerment resources. I want to give a quick overview of the range of tools, resources, and materials that we offer. The Your Money, Your Goals program includes a set of a variety of resources. We have a toolkit that I'll mention in greater detail that covers a wide variety of financial topics. We have tried to create and put the information in a variety of formats to be used in different settings. All of these materials, we're very proud that they have been rigorously tested in the field with practitioners. Many of you on the call have even helped in the field testing, giving input, and we see this as a constant process of refining and improving the materials, responding to the needs and interests on the ground. As we've seen changes over time in the current context, certainly these materials were initially designed with a focus on practitioners serving people in a one-on-one setting. So caseworkers, legal aid providers, people meeting with a client either once or in multiple sessions, generally in a one-on-one face-to-face setting. We see now many people are being very creative in the ways they adapt these materials and in the new needs that are being created while serving serving consumers in a virtual context. And I'll get into a couple more detailed examples. All of these resources are free. The print resources are available for order, generally in packs of 20 or 50, depending on the material. They're all available to order for free, and shipping is free as well. In the bottom left of this slide, you see a link to our webpage, which is consumerfinance.gov/yourmoneyyourgoals with hyphens between each word. I'll ask Terry to paste that in the chat as well. I wanted to mention our resources include an overall toolkit that's available in print version and also available for download. That covers the full wide range of financial topics. We also have a small set of issue-focused booklets. I'll get into a couple more details. 2 of those are available in Spanish, and a number of our resources will be disseminating additional resources in Spanish, and we have resources available in a number of languages. The issue-focused booklets focus on common topics like credit, debt, bills, and building savings. We also have a set of companion guides that are designed to provide specialized information for people who may have unique needs or unique financial products and questions. So we have a companion guide for Native communities. We have one for re-entry, focusing on tools for people with criminal records. We have a guide for people with disabilities, and that was most recently updated in 2019. I saw some questions about that. We have those individual downloadable tools available on our website as well, all through that Your Money, Your Goals webpage. So moving along, and I'm seeing a little bit of a flicker. Here we go. So the toolkit, I wanted to just mention, the toolkit itself touches on the wide range of topics from goal setting to savings, tracking income and benefits, paying bills, and getting through the month. It's over 200 pages in the print format. We also have added individual digital tools, so over 40 tools that are available on the website that can be downloaded in a PDF form, so you can fill in, plug in the information. And my connection just went out. I don't know if others are able to hear me. I will continue moving forward with the deck, but wonder if others are still on the phone.
Yep, you're good.
We can hear
good,
you,
Jill.
and I don't know if I can advance for you.
Okay, if you're able to advance, that would be great. And otherwise, I will just continue with my presentation orally. Okay. So the next slide shows additional topics: debt, credit, choosing financial products and services, protecting your money, which also touches on our complaints function. The next slide is a visual of our spending tracker tool. As I mentioned, you can download this. You can see those blue boxes are available. You can fill in the numbers online. Then you could save it or print it out. You could also print out a hard copy for people to use in person. We find these digital tools are very helpful in a virtual setting, working with clients over the phone. And one thing to keep in mind is certainly any tools that you download, please keep in mind to protect people's personal information. None of the information entered on these tools is saved on the Bureau systems. So here, I do want to flag, you'll see they're listed: cell phone, debt payment, eating out, different categories. One important feature of our tools is that we try not to place value judgments on them. In training, we often ask people, why do you think cell phone was listed first? And we receive a variety of responses. But the reasoning is it was purely alphabetical order. So these products and tools are designed for people to kind of lay out the information themselves, view it in their own values and in their own situations, and use the tool to make the best decision that's meeting their financial goals in their current situation. Other popular tools are an income tracker and then a little slightly more complex tool that brings together the income and spending in a combined cash flow. I mentioned on the next slide, you'll see the colorful booklets talking about specific topics. These are very small, portable, spiral-bound publications that are especially useful when people are working in a one-on-one setting. Often we see people fill them out or take them home to complete and bring them back to discuss, so people can focus on a single topic or subject of priority to them in that case management setting. The following slide with the blue background shows a cover of Behind on Bills. As I mentioned, this is available in English and Spanish. And the next slide shows the table of contents. This breaks down a set of really common questions and topics, such as where does my money come from? What are all my bills and when are they due? There's a tool talking about how can I get extra money out of my situation. You'll see they're color-coded, so blue-green tools are used to help people to develop a picture of their current income and spending. Yellow can be used to think about goals, and red can be used when you're working with people to meet immediate challenges and needs. I'll continue on to the introductory exercise slide. Inside each booklet, there are a variety of topics, and through the toolkits and booklets, you'll see there are a few different tools like this. My Money Picture can be used as a rapid assessment to sort of start that conversation. This is especially helpful for people. We don't expect anyone to be a financial expert. Some people are very comfortable talking about money issues. Others may be uncomfortable themselves starting that conversation with the person they serve. So this My Money Picture starts that initial conversation by checking areas you feel good about, circling areas where you have concerns, and can be used for people who are really just getting used to discussing these topics, or with people you serve who may be really uncomfortable about bringing up their financial issues. One of the most popular bills on the next slide, one of the most popular topics is prioritizing bills. So in the current context, and I'm hoping Terry can post the link in the chat function, we also have this tool in a video setting. It's also available for individual download, but prioritizing bills is designed to help people make decisions when times are tough, and we see this often being used lately. For some people, it's even too much if they're in a real crisis, but for others who are sort of on the edge and struggling with which bills to pay first, this tool can be helpful to really look at what might happen, understand the consequences and trade-offs of paying one bill versus another. On the next slide, you'll see the detailed tool itself about weighing the risks, looking at what I need to keep a job, what I need for insurance, what I need to stay housed or keep utilities connected, and other obligations I might need to pay. Moving on to the next slide with the yellow giraffe on the cover, we do find people find these accessible and comfortable. Most all of these materials are designed for people at about a 6th grade reading level, and they use a lot of icons and symbols that are respectful across cultures, may be helpful when working with people with limited English proficiency, but we find these booklets to be really helpful across a range of settings. So moving on to give examples of what's included in the credit booklet. Credit is an issue we're seeing many questions about, some concerns with increasing complaints related to credit issues, a number of people of a wide variety of backgrounds looking at topics such as here in the table of contents, how do I get a free copy of my credit report, some recent accommodations under the CARES Act to make credit reports available for free on a weekly basis, how do I get errors corrected if I see errors on my credit report, what can I do to build good credit or improve my credit scores, and then we do provide a range of resources to help people who might have experienced fraud or identity theft. So there are tools in the booklets and throughout the toolkit around identity theft and protecting yourself financially. The following slide on the tool structure helps show these small booklets are about the size of a small notebook. You can fold them out, and inside there's the tool you can write on. You can have people mark it up. And on the back side, you'll see a list. We try whenever possible to include links to other government resources or other objective sources of information. So we have a number of websites, phone numbers around each of these tools and topics. These are similar. You can download the tools on the website, and if Terry could make sure that link is available in the chat, that would be great. On the next slide, you see my credit snapshot, an example of a tool that you might walk through with someone you serve to look at whether they're new to credit, struggling, very familiar, and a lot of these are designed around goal setting and working toward their immediate financial needs. I will wrap up in just a minute and see if we can move on to Carrie on the line. But before I do so, I want to mention the Bureau's role in enforcement and in handling complaints. So if you see the slide on submitting a complaint to the Bureau, in the upper right-hand side of our website, all throughout the website, you'll see the Submit a Complaint button. So this is a way to submit a complaint either online or by phone, and I'll walk you through that process a little bit. We want to make sure that you're aware that you can call in by phone by dialing 855-411-BUREAU or 855-411-2372. It's toll-free. There are U.S.-based call centers that can take calls in over 180 languages. There's live Spanish operators, and also the operators can take calls from consumers who are deaf, have hearing loss, or speech disabilities. So moving on to the next slide, you'll see the range of topics that you may need to submit a complaint about. And if you're working with someone you serve, you are able to submit a complaint on behalf of someone else. We resolve complaints around topics such as debt collection, credit reporting, mortgages, credit or prepaid cards, checking or savings accounts, vehicle loans and leases, student loans, other loans, money transfer services. And in this process, there are two important pieces. So if you move on to the next slide, you'll see the complaint process where the complaint is submitted, it's reviewed, there's some interaction with the company. So again, this is once you have already tried to resolve this with a company, and if you feel like they are not following the rule or you're not getting the resolution you deserve, that is the time to file a complaint. And one other important feature on our website is complaints are published. So you can see trends. You can search by zip code or by product type to see trends in your area. And we have heard from practitioners that can be very useful for understanding what may be happening in their geographic area or the population that they're serving. So now I would like to just briefly mention how to order these Your Money, Your Goals materials. If you go to our webpage, consumerfinance.gov/YourMoneyYourGoals, you'll click through on the particular material that you want to order, and that will take you to a government publishing office website where you can put in the amounts. It's all free. It generally takes 4 to 5 weeks, depending a little these days, and you'll need to provide a street address. The large toolkit will come in a big stack of paper. You might want to have a binder handy if you're ordering it for your staff. The booklets are bound, and they are also available without the spiral binding for use in correctional facilities. And the final page, I want to mention a couple upcoming training opportunities. Each year, we have an opportunity to apply to be members of a training cohort. In the past, this has included nonprofits, local government agencies, and other federal partners from around the country, where we provide some in-depth training on how to use these tools and support for integrating them in your daily work. You can keep an eye out later this summer. We expect to announce plans about the cohort by July or August. But in the shorter term, we're excited to offer some free public webinars. There'll be 4 one-hour sessions in March, and we'll be announcing those through our listserv. So if you go to our webpage, on the bottom right-hand side, you'll see a block to sign up for the Your Money, Your Goals mailing list. And if you have any questions about materials or ordering or upcoming training opportunities, you can always reach our team at yourmoneyyourgoals@consumerfinance.gov. So now I'm hoping that Bobby might be able to start with Carrie while I reconnect to the system, and we'll open it up to questions. We'll do a quick overview of how the two Money Smart and Your Money, Your Goals materials are complementary, and then we'll open it up to questions. So could I pass it back to Bobby?
Yes, thank you, Jill. So we are excited to see how you all are participating in the chat. And so we have been fortunate to find one of a cohort and a collaboration partner that uses both resources. And his name is Kerry Gladstone. from United Way, and he is going to share with us. He's going to share with us how he uses the resources and how they may be effective in your work. After, then Jill will talk about the Venn diagram of the similarities in the resources that we have. As you can see, I talked about our curriculum. Jill talked about the toolkit. Again, just reiterating, they're both free, non-biased, as you can see. Target audience, adult, low income, underserved communities, those outside the financial mainstream. Both resources are customizable. They're not copyrighted. They're available in multiple languages. I think I forgot to mention that, yes, the Money Smart for Adults and our other resources are available in multiple languages. We shared the pre and post surveys, and then the products are ready to use. So with that, Carrie, I am going to turn it over to you now. Carrie Gladstone, and he will introduce himself and tell you a little bit about what he does and share with you how he has been able to use the resources. Carrie?
And while we wait for Carrie to join us, we will be taking a look at the chat. And I'm wondering if the operator could take this opportunity to share instructions about how to ask questions via phone.
Jill, while we're waiting.
Yes, I was just going to mention, I do see a lot of people asking if the PowerPoint and recording will be shared, and yes, we intend to share these resources with the participants and make these available. And we would love to go ahead and have people begin if there are additional questions in the chat. And I see it's always helpful to hear comments about how people are using the resources. So if you have a favorite tool or resource, if you would like to share how you're using it and what are some of your favorite tools these days, especially in the current context. And do we have the operator?
Well, I can share where people are dialing in from. We have people from Connecticut to California, Arizona to Alaska, Minnesota, Oregon, Washington, throughout the United States, and many are stating that they are either new or somewhat familiar with Money Smart and Your Money, Your Goals. They state that they'd like to use, for example, it's a family self-sufficiency coordinator. They use Your Money, Your Goals regularly with their clients. Others have used Money Smart since 2001 as a way, it's excellent, and they want you to keep updating it. Also want to know or are interested in hearing about new information CFPB and FDIC have, which includes disability-specific information, for example, ABLE and so forth. Is that something that you can respond to?
Thank you so much, Terry. And I can mention our companion guide for disabilities is on the website. We can reshare that link. I'm wondering if Bobby would like to add anything about FDIC resources.
Sure. And as we are doing that, I would also like to ask Carrie Gladstone, our speaker from the field, to dial *0 and ask the operator to please unmute your line. Again, we would like for you to access the FDIC resources through our website. You can go to FDIC.gov /education to visit the Money Smart website, FDIC.gov. You can go directly to the Money Smart. We, too, have a complaint area with our consumer affairs. You will find information there under education. We, again, our FDIC Consumer News is a great resource that has practical articles that will be helpful, a resource as you are presenting and helping your clients. They aren't copyrighted either. One of the most recent ones talked about banking online, of course, identity theft. There was one targeting educating youth. One of the things that we've been doing with our alliance through 2020 is we were trying to learn from them how have they adapted our resources in this environment. And so that has been very helpful to us as well.
Great. And in a moment, I see we have a question in the queue, and I wanted to respond to a couple other questions I saw in the chat. There was a question about resources for military families or service members, and we will, within the coming year, have a companion guide for service members and military families. We'll be excited to share information soon from our colleagues at the CFPB. And I'm wondering if we could go ahead to the operator to introduce the question on the phone. And as a participant noted, we do have a wonderful set of existing resources for service members on our website, and we'll be making that link to the Your Money, Your Goals tools with this companion guide. We also have some great resources for students and families around paying for colleges, dealing with student debt, to mention as well. All right, and I do want to add, since I'm sorry we've had a number of technical difficulties, but if you're having any questions connecting haven't been able to answer, we'll paste in the chat. Both FDIC and CFPB will be able to respond to questions by email. So I'll ask Terry to help with that. For the Your Money, Your Goals team, you can always email us at yourmoneyyourgoals@cfpb.gov, and we can help follow up on questions. But let me ask again for the operator. And Bobby, would you like to mention your contact information as well?
Sure. And I saw my colleague, Cole Peters. Gary says he's on the line, so I'll get the operator so that we can hear from Gary. But our direct connection is communityaffairs@fdic.gov. One word. The two words together, communityaffairs@fdic.gov, and I will also put that in the chat. So please excuse me while I reach out to the operator to unmute the line for Carrie.
Okay, and this is the operator. Just one question. Did you want me to introduce the question from Charles? I believe his name was Charles Richardson. His line is open. I can reintroduce that question and find the person you'd like. If they could just press star 0.
Sure, you can do that. And Kerry Gladstone is the speaker. I will give him the instructions again. Thank you.
Thank you. And Mr. Richardson, your line is open. You may ask your question.
Am I there? Hello?
Yes, sir.
No, just like to know, do you guys have any assistance or programs for individuals with seeking to be first-time home buyers and with disabilities? Did you hear me?
Yes, we have a number of tools and information related to home buyers and buying homes, mortgages, credit, and also related to disabilities. We can share those. Let us locate them in the chat, and we'll announce them by phone shortly. I'm hoping my colleague Terry can help share a couple links. So we will come back to your question, and in the meantime, we'll see if Carrie is able to join on the line. And I would mention under the coronavirus section, we have a number of housing-related resources, more for existing homeowners and renters, but for new homeowners and renters, we'll share that in a moment. Thanks for your question.
Jill, are you able to hear me?
Yes. Carrie?
Hello.
Hi,
So we're having
welcome. Thanks so much for joining us. We would love to hear how you've been using the Money Smart and Your Money, Your Goals tools and a couple of your favorites. We would love to hear your perspective as a long-time, very experienced user in the field.
So, hello, everyone. My name is Carrie Gladstone with Granite United Way, and I've been using both Money Smart back from the original iteration and then got involved with Your Money, Your Goals when I was working for another organization that was a social service agency where, and this is kind of out of the training or the feedback when Your Money, Your Goals first came out, social service providers were saying, I don't know how to do my own financial planning. They don't teach money management in social work school. How do I do this? At that point, I'd already been using a conversation guide that I came up with, and so Your Money Goals was a terrific resource for me to be able to implement with the folks we were serving. And I've done a number of trainings. What I really like about Your Money, Your Goals is that it is non-judgmental. I think you mentioned that, Jill. One of the examples being that it doesn't say you should have a bank account because that's a judgment. But for people to go through the comparison of having your money in the bank versus keeping it in the shoebox, folks are able to kind of go through the self-discovery of seeing, learning, for example, about the FDIC and why it's more advantageous to have the money in the bank and keep it insured and safe, but making sure that you're aware of the fact that the banks or financial institutions are for-profit businesses, and they have certain rules. So we can educate people about becoming more financially savvy, and then making it that comparison, the shopper guide to selecting a bank or credit union in order to participate in kind of the mainstream financial institutions. As to Money Smart, I really enjoy this new iteration. It's staged in such a way that it's really turnkey. So for folks who've been on the chat saying, how do I get this? You alluded to it, Bobby. There's a module, each of several, 14 modules, and they each come with an instructor's guide as well as a participant guide. The video is great. It follows well the instructor guide, which mirrors the participant guide. You add the slides to that, and all you have to do is get in front of your audience and facilitate the conversation. The work is done for you.
Thank you so much, Carrie. We really appreciate your insight and would love to see other examples in the chat of how others are using those tools. And are there any adjustments that you see, Carrie? Have you seen people making adjustments in the current context, serving people virtually? Or I know you do a lot of VITA work in this tax season. Any thoughts for people to keep in mind as they serve consumers during tax season when taxes are on their mind?
Yeah, so we've been a participant in the tax time savings cohort at the Bureau for a number of years, and we're looking to see how we can do asset building in a pandemic environment. I think we're going to focus on helping people just with the splitting of their refund at this point. Last season, we were able to use some of the Your Money, Your Goals booklets, and they were very popular when we were able to meet in person. Now we're doing it all virtually, and what I've been doing with Your Money, Your Goals in this environment is to work with some partners. We have been working with a federally qualified health center that has a contract to work with agencies around helping prevent child abuse and neglect among children 0 to 8. And so the way we do that is educate their social work staff and case managers from other organizations on working with parents and families to become more financially stable. And, of course, it's a much more limited environment. But a lot of the workers are able to meet by video chat with clients, and they can use the online tools that the fillable forms that were described that are really helpful. They're excerpts from each of the modules, and people can go through them, set their own goals. They can plug those in. They can make adjustments as necessary, go on to any of the other ones. And, I very much like the fact that it's structured as not a curriculum. You choose the module that you need when the client needs it, and I like the fact that if you've got each module comes with if you've got 10 minutes, here's a brief lesson you can do with a client. If you've got 30 minutes, you can go into more depth, bringing out a couple of the tools in that module. And if you've got multiple opportunities to meet with a client, you can really go into a more thorough review of their financial situation and bring in the trust that you have as the social worker or the case manager who's working with that client, and really build that financial empowerment on the part of the client.
Great. Thank you so much. We really appreciate your comments and insight. I know we're getting close to closing time, and I do want to respond to the question in the chat and perhaps give a couple final words before I turn it back over to Bobby for the final word of the day. To respond to the question regarding housing and disabilities, we've included a few links in the chat. So one is resources for home buyers, which is consumerfinance.gov/consumer-tools/mortgages. Another is consumerfinance.gov/owning-a-home. And then the disability guide is under the consumer tools, educator tools, and then Your Money, Your Goals companion guides. I want to double check. Bobby, are you ready for me to hand it back to you in a moment and wrap up? I want to thank you all so much for joining us today. I'll turn it back to Bobby in a moment. As we mentioned, if we weren't able to get to your questions, please email us. Thank you so much to Carrie Gladstone for joining and providing some comments from the field, and to everyone who was so active in the chat itself. It really helps to see the energy, all the experience and knowledge in the field. We really appreciate your insights and comments, and look forward to hearing your suggestions as we move forward about what adjustments in our materials or format of delivery can be helpful to you all. So again, we appreciate your participation in the partnership with FDIC. I'll turn it back to Bobby Gray at FDIC. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Jill. And this has been a great first of the year joint webinar with our partners. Again, at the CFPB, it has been a wonderful relationship, and Jill is right. Please let us hear from you. Let us know how we can support you. with our materials, particularly in this virtual environment. We would also like to learn from you. How are you adapting personally in reaching your clients, and also how are you adapting our resources? We like to share. We like learning from each other. Remember, I mentioned our Money Smart Alliance. If you're not a member, please check the website to see if you're eligible and consider joining. Please also consider submitting a story of how you use these resources in our newsletter. And we do, on behalf of the FDIC, as Jill said, from the CFPB, we want to thank you for taking this time out of your day to join us and actively participate in this webinar. We learn from you. We are here together. We can get this all done. Remember to remain safe and take care of yourselves, and we look forward to continue working together with you in 2021 and beyond. So thank you. Again, if we did not respond to your question, we will get back to you. Yes, this presentation will go out to everyone, and then we hope to also be able to post a recording at a later time. We will let you know. So thank you, and have a great day or morning, depending on where you are in the country.
This will conclude today's conference. Participants may disconnect at this time. Thank you for your participation on today's call. Speakers, please stand by for post-conference.